Hi, this is John, and today we're playing Solo Superheroes, an RPG. We're going to play it using the TRICUBE Tales system because I had such a good time with that last time. And we are continuing with two original superheroes who I'll introduce right after the intro, and we're so glad you're here. Hi, folks, and welcome to Sharp Mountain Games. Here we talk about group role-playing games, solo role-playing games, and there are plenty of actual plays in the playlist. You can check out our print and PDF products at Amazon, Lulu, Drive-Thru, and Roll20, and they're all linked below. Let's get started, and we're glad you're here. So today we're continuing our superhero adventure with Rocky Robertson and the Quantum Cat, and that's the TRICUBE Tales system. And you can see I just got my print copy of the book. It's a small book, only about 5 inches wide by maybe 8 tall. Very, very reasonable on drivethrurpg. I don't think it's on Lulu, but it's on drive-thru. Like I said, I think the book itself was under $5. I got this and the companion book, and with shipping, I think it was like $14 and something cents. So very, very reasonable. You know, compare that to, let's just say, some other big companies' books. So I'm going to show you the picture here of the card. Now, I'm not going to leave these up the full time because I think that it kind of takes up a little bit too much real estate. But I just want to quickly explain, what's going on here. So let's look at Rocky Robertson, who is a brawny football player. He's a lot like the Thing. And so when he rolls, if he's doing anything brawny like melee combat or lifting something up, he is going to roll 3d6. If he's doing anything else but it's sort of related, he'll only roll 2d6, like if it's reasonable for him to do. And 1d6 is kind of there when, I'd say mostly when players want to do something stupid or really, really that doesn't quite fit their character. Now he has a perk of a stone body. So usually he rolls 3d6 and 5s and 6s are successes. So we want to get 5s and 6s. But if he burns a karma point, and I have some tokens here for them, some of these little decorative stones I got from somewhere, glass beads. Then he can reduce that to 4. So he has a much greater chance of succeeding, but he kind of burns a karma, which is a luck token. And resolve acts like hit points. But it's a little different in terms of you saying, oh, only 3 hit points. You're going to be dead real soon. You're not dead, but you could be out of the scene. Think about superheroes. They don't die very, very often. It just doesn't, they get defeated maybe and humiliated, but they don't pass away. His quirk is that he's hot-headed, so before a roll, he can raise the difficulty to 6, but he can get a karma back. And if he succeeds, even with the 6, he could get either a karma or resolve back, whichever one he needs. And then we have Quantum Cat, who, like Schrodinger's cat, who is an agile physicist, different quantum powers, and he is a bit naive. And there'll be another new superhero coming along today, definitely in the story, but we'll wait and show you that. So let me get rid of this because, like I said, it just takes up too much real estate there on the screen for us to worry about. So, hi, this is John, and today we're playing Solo Superheroes, an RPG. We're going to play it using the TRICUBE Tales system because I had such a good time with that last time. And we are continuing with two original superheroes who I'll introduce right after the intro, and we're so glad you're here. Let's get started. After last week's adventure, Rocky and the Quantum Cat are having a drink, coffee or tea or whatever. And I'm a tea drinker. So they're having a coffee or a tea together and thinking about, how things went last time. And Rocky says, I have had a lot of money, from my football days. And I'd really like to start a team. I really think, I could afford to get us a superhero lab and some gear that we would need for crime fighting and detective work. He's saying, but I think just you and I, we may need more people on this team. Maybe 3 or 4 would be really an ideal number. Do you know anybody else in the superhero game? And Quantum Cat says, he's a physicist. He spends a lot of his other time when he's not crime fighting, working in his lab and with his graduate students and things like that. And he says, well, no, but certainly I follow the newspapers and the online news. And I have heard there's a female superheroine, seems really quite powerful. And she might be a wonderful addition to the team, but I don't know how we would get in touch with her or talk her into it because, I know you don't have a secret identity, but I do. And I'm sure she does as well. And of course, comic books are full of coincidences. As they're doing this, an alert goes off on Quantum Cat's phone. He has it set, in case there's a police alert or a news alert. And not very far from where they are, they're hearing that there's some huge disturbance, a major event at a very large bank here in Sharp Mountain City. So they're immediately going to make their way over to that. And then let's talk about what they see. Oh, and let me just get a little aside here. I did use some random tables to help create this adventure. So it really helped because it helped jog my thoughts or give me some thoughts maybe that I wouldn't have had otherwise. It's not totally randomly determined. I know there's people who do that with their solo play, that they use the oracles and they just go totally random. I like to have a few notes beforehand, especially if I'm recording it. But I still want to leave room for the dice to have their say. And they actually had their say in determining this. So when they get to the bank, let's get back to the story here. Enough of my blabbering. And the door has been ripped off the bank, and there's a lot of noise inside. They can hear people hollering. So there's no need for Quantum Cat to use his quantum leap or Rocky to tear the door off. And Rocky is a bit more like a gray granite color. So they easily come in to see what they can see. And what they see is stomping towards the bank vault, a very large robot. I got him at a dollar store or something many years ago, and I just glued him to a plastic poker chip so he'd have a little bit of a base. But the problem is that there are other people in the bank and in his way. And of course, the robot is not looking out for that at all. So also, having just swooped into the bank, they see a young lady, Asian descent, and wearing her costume. It had a little cape on it, but it's more of a purple color. And Quantum Cat immediately says, now she's flying, so the bank has a higher ceiling. So she's keeping above the crowd here. And I guess we could put her up there. Maybe that'll make sense. She is looking to take on the robot. And Quantum Cat says to Rocky, I recognize her. I think that's Star Gem from the papers. So let's go in order here. And there's no special turn order. I'm not playing it with initiative the way I do it. So Rocky is going to go first, and he says, kid, you get these people out of here with your quantum leaping. I'm taking on the robot. And he is going to rush in. And he says, we're here to help you, he hollers up to her. Now he's brawny, and the robot gets 2 attacks. And I have some nice gray dice. They even have a skull for the one. So he's going to take his swing at the robot, and then we're going to use... Now, since he's brawny, he's not agile. He gets some other advantages, for being brawny, but he's not as agile, so he's only going to use 2 dice to get out of the way. So we can roll the 2 hit and the dodge at the same time. There is no damage roll. If you get hit, it's just 1 hit. You lose 1 from your resolve. Now the robot has more resolve than that because he's big and it's gonna be a problem to try and take care of him. So let's give him a shake, run him through the dice tower, and let's see what we get. And I know you can't see the dice tower maybe as well as I'd like, but let's see. No, he gets no successes, but he does dodge out of the way. In fact, he dodges very nicely for this. Let me see. Maybe if I put the dice tower this way, you can see it a little bit better. Is that any better if we move things down? Let's see, a little bit like that. Okay, there we go. So I'm moving the whole bank in the process, but you get the idea. And then these are just dominoes that I painted, that I happen to have, and I painted for the walls here. So he does not get hit, but he dodges out of the way of this big robot. And then let's take care of the robot next. Let's stay with that. And she says to him, she says, well, thanks for the help, but I don't usually need it. Now, what she's going to do is channel both of her hands. And what you see coming out of it is this light. But when it comes to the robot, it crystallizes into these star gems of all things. And she's going to try to hit the robot with that. Now, she's agile. So that's a ranged attack. So she'll get to roll 3 dice, and I'm using the purple dice for her. And then I'm just going to always use the white for the dodge roll. Yeah, that's better. Now you can see the dice. Sorry about that. So let's see. So she dodges but does not hit this robot. Ooh, they're having some troubles here. Now, Quantum Cat is going to try to get in here, and he says, come on, folks, I'm going to try to get you out of here really quickly, as fast as I can. Now, the robot only has 2 attacks, so Quantum Cat doesn't look like he's going to be in much danger of getting hit. But let's see how many people he can get out of here on this round. Let's see. So he's got a 5, and even though it's early in the game, I'm going to say he's going to spend a karma because, you know, this is trying to help people out. He is going to spend a karma and take these people out of here. He's going to leap them out and get them to safety out on the sidewalk, so we don't have to worry about them. And then he'll be able to leap back in. And that's his turn. That's all he can do. And one reason why I really like this system for, especially for the solo play here, is I think it's quick. I think it's just so much quicker than many other systems. All right, so let's see what's going to happen to Rocky. The robot still really wants to get to that bank vault, and he is walking, and he's trying to knock Rocky out of the way with his arm. Hey, watch it, Buster, Rocky says. So let's give him a roll here. And let's see what happens. Okay, so Rocky gets a hit on him. Does Rocky take a hit? Yeah, Rocky takes a hit because he only got a 3 and a 1. And so he cannot get out of the way there. So he loses a resolve, can't spend any karma. Okay. And she says, hey, don't be doing that to my assistant. Same deal. She's going to again try and use that quantum gem powers. You know, it kind of acts like almost like a series of little projectiles or bullets on him. But you know, quarters are close in here, so he's going to get a shot. Definitely get an arm shot there. So let's see how she does. So where's our purple dice? She gets a 6. And that's going to be, I don't think she's going to spend any karma just yet. It's a little early on. Let's see if she dodges out of the way. Yeah, we got a 6, so that's absolutely fine. All right, so Quantum Cat is going to try to get the other civilian out of there, the other bank worker or person visiting the bank, and he only needs 1 success. So let's hope he gets 1 success on his blue dice here. Oh, yeah, look at that 6. That's very nice. So he gets everybody out. He's going to, you know, bamf back in the way Nightcrawler would, but of course he doesn't get to act this round. So Rocky says, come on, enough of this nonsense. And like I said, the villains have more resolve than what the heroes do. Oh, look at that. Rocky has 3 successes. I think that's definitely great for him. But he takes another whack from the robot. So that's going to do a nice number for taking down this robot. We're not there yet, believe it or not. But he got, boy, that's a great number of successes for him this round. Okay, so let's have now our superheroine. And again, she's using her ranged powers here because she's agile. And let's see how she does. Oh, look at that. That's very nice. 2 successes, and she got a success on her dodge, a 6. So that's pretty good. That helps her out quite a bit. Okay, now let's see what Quantum Cat can do. He has this quantum entanglement. So I'm going to say he doesn't have to dodge because the robot only gets 2 attacks. So he is going to try and, you know, entangle the legs there. Maybe kind of like Luke with the AT-AT in The Empire Strikes Back there. And if he gets that, then I think that will give the other 2 an advantage next round, a benefit for their 2-hit roll. I don't know if it's going to give them a benefit for their dodge, but let's see. So let's see if Quantum Cat can entangle his legs with quantum entanglement. Just like 2 photons. Let's see how he does. Yeah, he does. Now, he only gets one success, so I'm going to say, well, that's going to give just one of them an advantage for hitting. I think that's a reasonable call here. And I think you can see probably with TRICUBE Tales is occasionally you have to make a ruling. And for those of us who've been GMing for a long time, we're kind of used to that. But it's a nice flexible system in that regard. Oops, and I lost my star gem there, our female superhero. So I think that's going to give Rocky a benefit. So that way, Rocky's only going to need a 4 or better to hit this robot. And let's see how we do here. But he's still going to have to dodge. He's not getting a benefit on his dodge. Oh, 2 4s. Buddy takes a hit. So our robot is down. We got all the civilians out, which is good news. But he takes a hit. So he is going to have to make another brawny roll here to see if he is out of the scene. No, he's stunned. So that means he's going to lose a turn. But then he has to have what's called an affliction. Now, what I'm going to say for the affliction is, this is going to throw him off his game a little bit. His next roll will be at penalty, which means he's going to have to get a 6 in general to succeed at his next roll. But the robot has gone down. He looks better. You can see him better when he's down. So Quantum Cat rushes over to his friend, and she rushes over to the robot. And of course, you hear the police sirens. I mean, it's a big city. And the police show up, and the bank manager comes back in. And she says, "Oh, is he all right?" And after a minute or so, he's kind of groggy, but he gets up. Now, he does get his resolves back for the next scene. If he had spent any karma, though, he wouldn't get that back. And he said, yeah, did anybody get the name of that truck? Talking gruff like him can make you dry, too. You have to drink a little bit. So excuse me while I have a little bit of water here. And Chief Ferrigno shows up, whom they have met before and had good interactions with. And the bank manager, Mr. Milton, comes in. And he says, "Oh, this is terrible. This is terrible. There's got to be millions of dollars worth of damage in here. But how can I thank you enough?" And the chief gets his people. They're going to have to take care of this robot. Well, she says, well, what was he so interested in the vault? Is there anything in there that, is special? Because this doesn't seem like a normal bank robbery to me. Now, I think she's trying to convince him to tell her a little bit more than, maybe he would normally want to. So let's so charisma is crafty. That's kind of your mind and your personality skills here. So let's see how she does. Oh, 5. So that's good, even without any karma or modifiers or anything. And he says, well, we were asked to hold it, and I'm not really even sure why, but we were asked to hold it. There, I think, there's some scientific interest in it. The government was going to send somebody up, one of their armored trucks or something soon. There's a meteorite sample in there. Rare meteorite from Antarctica. I assume quite valuable. I don't, at least if the government's very interested. And Quantum Cat wants to take a look at this robot here. Can I do that, Chief? Before you haul it away. So let's see how he does. That, again, would be a crafty roll. Okay, so they have good relationship with the police here. I was going to give it out of 4, 5, or 6. But he doesn't even need that. So he is going to use his physics to see what he can ascertain about this robot. If there's anything about the electronics component. And Chief Ferrigno says, yeah, but you got to be quick. We have to take this in, and we can't have civilians messing around with the evidence here. He said, this is a little sketchy already, what I'm doing. So let's see what they're going to do here. How he does with his physics roll. No, he's not able to get a little bit of the information here on the electronics. Even with karma, that wouldn't help him. So he says, oh, I just don't know. He said, I can only say that most of these are Earth components, but, actually tracing them to a particular electronics dealer, that'd be tough. He tells the police chief that too. And she says, well, maybe our folks down at the lab can make some headway with this. He said, well, why don't you folks, clear out the scene here, because we have to haul this out, and we're going to have to police tape this whole thing up, and Mr. Milton will have to arrange things for the bank here. Now, before he goes, Quantum Cat is going to try and use his new perk, because like I said, I leveled them up last session. I'm just going to level them up probably once per game. Or once per adventure. He's going to try and use his new quantum field tracking. Now, I let him try it last time, but he wasn't successful. So hopefully this time he'll do a little bit better. So he needs a 5 or a 6 to be successful. It's a standard roll here. And yeah, he's got a 6. So he kind of whispers to Rocky. He says, I think we may be able to track where some of these electronics are, where he started out. So the team decides, or Rocky and Quantum Cat decide, they're going to try and use his quantum tracking to track down maybe where the robot came from or where the electronics came from. Although he couldn't tell anything from the electronics, that's right. So he's going to have to track down the robot himself, where the robot originated from. So let me get some of our bit players off the screen here. Now, I did have the possibility that if he identified the electronics, there'd be an encounter in there. But it looks like we're going to skip ahead a little bit, and that's okay. So as the cat is tracking where, they're going to be moving uptown, and Stargem is Rocky asks, well, you want to come along, right? And she says, you bet I do. She said, with that giant robot and what it was up to, we have to see maybe who was behind all this. I've had my suspicions on this fellow David DeFay. He's an industrialist and an engineer, a very, very wealthy man. But, I think that behind the scenes, other things are going on. She said, but I have nothing, to tie him to anything like this. And she says, of course I want to come along. You fellows were really, really helpful. But Rocky says, oh, well, I'm thinking about starting up a team, and we really could use some extra help. And she says, well, let's see how we do together on this. She said, I usually work independently, she said, but let's see how we work through this. So they go uptown, not to the electronics supply place, as I said, as they had thought they might, but they may have a lead. And as they get towards the edge of town, figure they probably, Rocky has he's loaded. He can definitely have a vehicle to get them up there. Quantum Cat says, well, it's leading outside of town. It's leading up, outside of town to the hill. I believe it's where the planetarium is. That's what I got with my quantum powers. Let's see how specific he can get. Oh, we got a 6 there, so that's fine. So he says, I'm 100% certain it's coming from that planetarium. And she says, yeah, and if they were trying to steal a meteor rock, it's possible could be another sample up there. We'll have to be very cautious going in there. So they're going to approach the planetarium. Maybe we'll do a circular wall. Planetariums always tend to be circular. And Rocky says, people could have been hurt in that bank. People could have been killed. He's starting to get upset about that. And he is even thinking, busting his way in. But the cat and our Star Gem, they hold him back a little bit and say, no, let's take this a little more carefully. And Quantum Cat is going to try to, teleport his way in there with his quantum leap. Let's see how he does. Look at that. 3 successes. So he is silent as a cat. And he is able to, boom, even though this is an unknown leap for him, to get in there and see what he can see. And what he sees is that there are, he's kind of in the shadows here, guarding the door to, the main corridor, which will eventually lead into the planetarium itself. 3, I guess you'd say henchmen or hired help. It seems unusual. They look very tough men and rough around the edges. These aren't the people you would expect to see hanging out at a planetarium here, kind of in the middle of the day. So he's going to bamf back out. I don't know that he really needs a roll for that. Oh, well, but we'll honor the failed roll here. He fails. I mean, even with karma, nothing's happening there. And they turn and they are going to fire on him. So he's going to need to make a dodge roll. They are armed with guns. Again, all this seems unusual. And he does not take a hit. Look, he makes his dodge. He's agile. He gets to use his 3 dice. And he starts calling, and they hear the gunshots. And Rocky says, I'm going in, no question about it. And he's going to use his hot-headedness to try and get a karma back here. So that means he's going to need at least 1 6 to break down the door here. He doesn't need any resolve back. He's pretty good on that. And did he get his 6? No. So he does not get a karma back on that. And he's not opening the door. So she's going to just try to blast her way in here. Because otherwise things could be going bad for the cat here. Yeah, no problem. So she blasts the door open and kind of, blows on her fingernails and rubs it up against her shirt like, that's how it's done. And they entered the fray here. Okay, so we'll just go across here. She is going to try to use those kind of gem projectiles that she has to knock him out. She's not trying to kill him. And there's 3 of them. Now, they're only 1 resolve each. Another way to do that is to lower the difficulty and say, well, you only need a 4 to hit them. But I'm going to just give them less resolve and do it that way. I haven't sat down and worked out the math, but that's what I'm doing. Okay, so does she hit? Yes, she hits, and she easily dodges out of the way of their bullets. So he is down, but only knocked out in true comic book fashion. Okay, and then Rocky, he's still upset about not being able to do that door there. So he is going to charge in. He probably needs a saying like it's clobbering time, but we can't use that. So we'll have to think about that, folks. So let's see how he does. And how many successes did he get? He got 1 success. He's not going to burn the karma there, so he knocks him down. And he's going to say, your turn, cat. Get him entangled. So the cat is going to try to entangle him and probably his mouth as well. Cat's using the blue dice here. And let's see how that does. So cat avoids the gunshot. But he only got a 4, but I think cat can burn a karma, no problem, to make that a success. So he uses his perk and his extra attunement to the quantum field, because I really should be explaining, when we use the perk, not just saying that you use the perk. You really are supposed to explain why and how that works. And Rocky says, I don't know if they know that we're here. We've got to move in a little deeper. So they're going to go down this corridor here. I'm going to try to keep things moving for everybody. So here's our corridor. And she says, I'm going to fly ahead because she can do that pretty silently, if you're in the air. So she is flying ahead and floating down the corridor at her. I'm going to say there's 3. And I'm just going to use these little paper circles that I punched out to represent our 3 planets. Now, obviously not planet size, but the kind you'd find in a planetarium. And they are circling, and each of them, almost like the Death Star, has a hole there, and lasers fly out. So she is going to use her star gem thing, but it's going to have to do some fancy flying to try and avoid them. And let's see how she does. Let's see if there are any successes there. Yeah, we've got one success. And, oh, yeah, easily she evades. And I think she's going to burn a karma and, you know, use her attunement with her star energy to take out the other one. All right. So Quantum Cat says, oh, what's going on in there? And, he uses he's naive. So he is going to jump into the fray a little bit too fast. He doesn't need to make a roll, I don't think, for his quantum leap there. But what that's going to mean is he can get a karma back because he's acting kind of naively in a way maybe that he shouldn't. Maybe, you know, he's a little bashful because there's a girl around, a woman around. And so that means he's going to need 6s for his successes, and he is going to try to use his quantum entanglement to bring one of the planets down and have it crash to the ground. So let's see how he does. Now, he can't burn a karma, I don't think, on this roll. So do we have any 6s? Look at that. Very nice. He does get a 6 on that one. Takes one of them out, but he is losing a resolve. I usually get that back at the end of the scene, but I'm going to say, you know, this is all continuing. He's not going to have any chance to rest, you know, to get his resolve back here. Has to be some consequences. The TRICUBE tactics, I don't want to say they're vague because I don't think that's the idea, but they do leave it up to the GM or the DM to decide, you know, when the end of a thing is, a scene is. And Rocky rushes here and he tries to use his brawn to grab that and pull it down, but the thing is still firing lasers at him. So let's see how he does. Oh, he got a 6 there. Oh, and a 6 too to avoid getting hit. So no problem. He takes that down, but they have made a lot of noise, unfortunately, in this whole process. So there's no chance of surprise coming up for them once they get out of the corridor here. And let me make some walls here with my dominoes. And we get the idea that there's walls all the way around here. I hope you like the lo-fi approach. Because I don't know about you, but I work and I have family. I'm sure you do too, or you have some combinations of school or other commitments. And we're here to have fun. Yeah, I could print out real detailed maps and all that. And maybe I will for some things in the future. But I can have a pretty good time with just, you know, theater of the mind and a few little props here. So they enter this, and here's what they see. There's another robot, almost identical to the first. And in the center here, now there's the telescope. In fact, maybe it's up on some stairs here. You know how they always have the stairs leading up to where you look in the eyepiece. And standing on there is a scientist, and she is focusing something from the telescope. You can see like stellar light coming through on a meteorite sample that is right here, and it's glowing. And now she is dressed in, you know, lab coat and standard attire. She's not dressed in any kind of supervillain gear here, but obviously she has the robot. And she says, no, our plans are almost done. You know, this gem will depower you, Star Gem. So seems to be doing something with that gem for Star Gem. And let's see how far along it is. So I'm going to say on 4, 5, 6, that gem is starting to get more powerful. Let's see. 6. Yes, it is. So Star Gem feels like this weakness come over her. Oh, I don't know. And let's see if she is, I'm going to do a fitness roll to see if this does anything to her, if this has any effect on her. All right, she passed that, no problem. You can see the 5 there. So what I'm going to rule on that is that, no, it doesn't weaken her the way Kryptonite weakens Superman, but she knows she has to avoid it. That must be their plan, she said. They wanted the other meteorite. They're trying to make something to neutralize me. And Rocky says, you and the boy go after the robot. I'm taking care of that thing. So he comes over here, and they're going to go after the robot. Now, they are putting themselves in harm's way, and Cat's already lost the resolve, so he's a little bit weakened. Let's see how they do. So, again, we'll have ladies first, and Stargem is going to try to take down the robot. Oh, very, very nice, and she's spending a resolve, or karma, excuse me, to turn that 4 and make it into a success. But looks like she is going to get hit. You can only spend 1 karma per round. However, that's 3 hits on the robot. That's great. But she's losing a point for her resolve right there. And I have, again, just some little glass beads over here. The blue ones are resolve and the black ones are karma. And they're working out great. Okay, so then the cat is going to try to quantum entangle this guy again. Let's say he's not going to do damage to it, but maybe it will give her a benefit next round. But he's still going to have to avoid getting hit by it. So let's see what happens. So he's the blue dice, and he's pretty agile. Oh, look at that, 2. And he avoids it for 6, so that's great. So what I'm going to say is then next round, she's going to only need a 4, 5, or 6 to, he got 2 successes. She's only going to need a 3, 4, 5, 6 to succeed here. And maybe I'll put a little 3 dice behind her just to remind me. Because he got 2 successes, so I think she should get some benefit out of that. All right, and Rocky comes over here, and he is going to do his best to try to neutralize that device, and he only has 3 rounds to do it. So this is the first round. I'm trying to put a little bit of a timer here before things would go south. If they go south, well, that'll be next adventure. Oops, I wanted to go down the chute there. So let's see how he does. He does... Okay, yep, and he doesn't take any damage. I'm going to say, there's with those beams coming out, they could possibly damage him. Also, she takes out a pistol. She is armed, but it's not a regular gun. It seems like it's, has some laser abilities. And he says, so he is able to, he gets hit, but he's able to absorb it. And we're saving our karma for the end here. So he is going to turn this into 2 successes against that device, that could possibly hurt our star gem here. All right, so she's in good shape because the quantum entanglement, they tag teamed it here. So she only needs 3s, 4s, or 5s for successes. However, for avoiding the robot's arms is going to be the same as before. So let's see how she does here. Looks like 2 successes easily. She's flying around the room here. I don't have a little bottle or something that could have her in the air. But she gets her 2 successes, so that's pretty good against that robot. And he says, that worked so well, I'm going to try it again. So he's going to try and use his quantum entanglement again, all the while hopefully avoiding the robot. So... roll them up, shake them up, and let's see how we do. Now, I know it, like the dice were one way and they moved, but we'll just play where they always land. Oh, look at that. Another 2. He easily gets out of the way. The robot is still entangled, and I'm going to do the same for her again, where she needs only that 3 next time on her turn. And Rocky says, come on, I'm ending this. He is going to try to take out that device. And let's see what he does. Okay, he's got a 5, and a 2. So he takes a hit. But he does 1 success. So he's got to get a success next round, or we could have something really, really bad happen here. We'll see what happens. All right, so let's see how she does against the robot. Only needs a 3 with that quantum entanglement. I think that's a nice assist for him. Oh, look at that. 3 more. Yeah, that robot teeters and falls to the ground. And let's see how her dodge was. Yep, she was fine. She got that 5 there. You can see that. So no problem. She doesn't take any damage from the robot falling. And Cat says, I'm going to assist you, big guy. So he's going to come up here and try and take that pistol away from that woman scientist there. And let's see how he does. Because that may help Rocky. Then he won't have to worry about her shooting at him. She's going to shoot at Cat, but what are you going to do? Okay, let's take a look there. Yeah, I'm going to say she has 2 resolve. And look at that. He got 2 successes. So he is able to neutralize her. Now, he doesn't knock her out, but figure he uses his quantum entanglement to get rid of the gun and get her out of the picture here. So let's see now what happens. This is it. This is the roll. He has got to get a success. Rocky has got to get at least 1 success, at least 1 5 or 6, or something bad's going to happen. So we need 5s or 6s. No, we don't have any, but he has his last karma. His last karma to basically turn one of those into a 5 or turn it into a success. And he shuts this down. He shields it with his body. And he says to Stargem, he says, get out of here. I have it neutralized, but I'm going to crush it. So she wisely gets out of the way. And he takes it well away from here, maybe out a back door, and crushes it. And he says, we'll collect all the stuff later here. So she is now able to come back in. And Cat is questioning the doctor here. So that's a crafty roll. Now, he doesn't have any special diplomatic skills. Let's see how he does. Oh, look at that. It's a 6. So he says, what was going on up here? What's all this? You endangered some people at the bank. And she says, I didn't mean that. She said, but my employer, he was going to, not my employer, but rather mysterious person was going to fund some grants for me, for it would last me for years to come. And all I had to do was irradiate that meteor sample. And she wants to know whether she'll give up the name of who the mysterious man was. Now, let's see how we do there. No, she doesn't get a success. She has 1 karma. I mean, we can burn that. That can be a success. And the woman tells her, I think it was somebody at the DeFay company. I think, but, it was all handled through, secret VPN transactions. And Rocky says, we're not going to have anything. He says, the best we could do is call the cops and they can maybe take her and prosecute her. Maybe she'll say more once the cops get here. So he gets out his cell and he makes a call to the police, and everybody comes up, and the police come up and take care of the scene. And then our heroes go off and talk. And he says, well, what do you think? I think we did a pretty good job together as a team. And Stargem tells him, yes, no, absolutely. She said, I would definitely be interested in working on this little team that you're forming. And he says, do you know any other heroes? I think, the 3 of us did pretty well. 4 sounds like a really great number for a super team. Do you know anybody else? And she says, well, I might have a lead on 1 other. And with that, we'll leave it there for now. I thank you so much for watching. I do hope you had a good time. If you can give me a like and a subscribe if you're so inclined, that's great. Even better, if you could give a comment, if there's anything you want to talk about or you want to see more of these type of superhero games, or maybe you don't, maybe you want me to go back to Star Wars or Star Trek. Just let me know what you think and how it's going. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much.